The German battle group that has been operating off the Eastern Seaboard has been attacked by a strike force that's been sent out for that very purpose. The Idaho, the New Mexico and the Nevada, escorted by the Astoria, which is a New Orleans-class heavy cruiser, as well as the Tuscaloosa and the light cruiser Brooklyn, is up against the Kaiser Friedrich III, Preußen and Prinzregent Luitpold, and the battlecruiser Mars, together with their sizable cruiser and destroyer escort. Our cruisers should be superior to the German cruisers, but we will see how our battleships are going to fare. We have no destroyers with us at the moment because all destroyers are busy hunting submarines and escorting the larger fleets in the Caribbean. Given that we have no destroyers in this group, we will scout ahead with the cruiser division, while under the lead of the Astoria as flagship, while Idaho, Nevada and New Mexico are going to bring up the rear, obviously. Oh, and we have already spotted, we've got an enemy target. That is good. So in that case, where are they going? What can we see? They're heading straight for us. So I'm going to get the battle line to adjust to starboard, and I'm going to get the cruiser force to slow down to 25 knots, and attempt to lay fire from the port side, and we'll see if we can sandwich them. The task of the heavy cruisers is going to be mostly to take on the screening forces, whereas the battle line is going to start focusing on the enemy battle line. There we've got the German battleships 1, 2 and 3, and the battle cruiser is presumably somewhere nearby as well. So let's get the ships turned around to make sure that we get all our guns on target, and we will begin operations with the heavy ships. We do have to be a little careful here with things like destroyers. So I'm not going to get the cruiser force to be too far off, but I'm just sort of getting them to sweep ahead and make sure that they can. And there we have the battle cruiser, I believe. Then to make sure that they can intercept any kind of screens that we haven't spotted yet. And first hit, 14-inch hit over penetration on the leading ship. It's a good start. So the battle line is unloading. The cruisers are not quite in range yet. We'll probably go back up to flank speed and just get a little closer, but the cruisers will mostly be hunting screens. And there we have probably damaged from the previous operation. Yeah, that's a very damaged light cruiser. So that's our first target, not for the battle line, but for the cruiser line. So Astoria. Oh, nice hits there. What have we got? Some penetration, some deck penetrations, I think, on... we weren't even targeting that. That is a light cruiser. So we might have accidentally hit that and done quite a bit of damage. Okay. Astoria, Tuscaloosa and Brooklyn. Massive hits here on some of the cruiser force, and something's already going down. We don't even know what we've hit yet, but the battle fleet has absolutely obliterated something here. What are these lead ships? Are these? That's destroyers. Okay, so I'm gonna get the Astoria to turn about and start targeting the enemy screens. Because I want those to be eliminated if possible, and we can swoop back towards the battle line to make sure we'll get them to drop to 19 knots. Swoop back towards the battle line to make sure we're not getting any torpedoes here. That is exposing the cruisers to fire from the heavy ships, but I think we are far away enough that we don't have to worry about that too much. And we have sunk something, but I have no idea what that was. However, the cruiser group should be able to deal with these destroyers pretty easily. especially if they're sailing in a straight line. So there is a second German group over here, consisting of what looks like light cruisers, and these are actually not armored cruisers, but they seem to be somewhat more modern. So we'll get yep, there's a whole group coming in. We'll get the heavy cruisers to focus down the screens first, while the main line keeps unloading at the target the lead ship. Unload at the enemy battleship, please. And the cruiser force is here to potentially deal with incoming destroyers. A couple of over penetrations there, and I think we are starting to to disencourage them of getting any closer whatsoever. However, we do have to be careful with torpedoes here. Battle line is still safe. That's one destroyer dealt with. And cruisers so far at risk, but not quite severely yet. I think they had a relatively small number of destroyers, like 3 or so. So I would like to get, let's get that one sunk. And we're going to, given that how aggressive the Germans are, we are going to perform a full turn from the battle line. And we are also going to perform a turn from the cruisers, because we're definitely in torpedo range now. So let's see if we can get a couple of more hits in, and see if we can do something about that destroyer at this range. Yep, that is massive amounts of 8-inch high explosive hitting these destroyers here, and there come the torpedoes. That's why I'm already on an evasive course here. Also, with the battle line needs to go hard to starboard to avoid these to evade on the torpedoes. Cruiser force should be okay. Slow down to 25 knots and keep targeting the destroyers. I think we've got one almost dealt with, unless that's actually a cruiser. No, I'm pretty sure that's a destroyer. So let's see if we can. They are smoking up, but let's see if we can deal with them. I just want to avoid the torpedoes. We're going to have to turn a bit more here. So Brooklyn, which is taking up the rear, should be able to take them on. And I think the battle line has performed the turn. So we will maintain course. We're going to do a full turn with the battle line. And the cruisers do have to avoid these torpedoes. Okay, Brooklyn is coming under fire, so speed up the cruiser line again. Battle line is going to perform a full turn. Oh, there are more torpedoes incoming. So full turn both. Full turn on both lines here. I do need to avoid those torpedoes. Big torpedo spreads here. So all ahead flank, full turn, and turn about and get back to it. That destroyer is almost done for. We're just thrown off our aim here. Battle line, go back to 20 knots, and of course their aim is massively thrown off now. But I think the first pass of the German scouting force has been a victory for us. So now we just need to perform the turn and get our ships back into proper formation. Okay, cruisers are at flank speed, taking some minor hits here. Fires on all 3 ships. Couple minor hits, but I would like to get this destroyer eliminated. We just need to start actually sailing in a straight line rather than dodging wildly, because that is throwing our aim off. So that is that another destroyer over here? That is probably, that looks like another destroyer, yes. So please do try to finish off. I might have to get a little closer. Please do try to finish off the destroyer over there. We're too far. I think we're a bit too far away now to make that happen. But torpedo salvo avoided. I think New Mexico might have taken a torpedo in the stern here because she is flooding. No, this is more in the middle. I'm not sure. Yeah, she has taken. Unfortunately, New Mexico has taken a torpedo on the belt, and we are going to try and next target the V-16 here. But let's get that destroyer. Let's get that destroyer sorted out first from the cruisers. And the battle line is New Mexico has gotten the flooding under control, so well done. So the battle line can try to target the heavy cruisers over here, if they are heavy cruisers, while the cruiser force is circling the other direction. We're going to slow down again to 25 knots here. And we have more cruisers in the rear, but I'm pretty certain that San Francisco and her friends can sort that out. First of all, the destroyer, however. Not San Francisco, Astoria, actually. Steer in a little bit. The enemy cruisers probably have torpedoes as well, so we do have to be a little careful there. Battle line is well out of range. So we may have to... if we can get... this is actually a light cruiser. This is the Schwalbe. Okay, let's get the destroyer sorted out first. Then, in that case. And we are getting a little far away from the battle line, so I will probably get the cruisers to turn about again. See first if they can land a couple of hits on the V-16. And at least damage her enough that we get this one focused down. She has developed engine problems now. And we are going to have to turn about relatively soon because there are going to be more torpedoes in the water. But hammering that destroyer right now. She's lost rudder control and engines. And she just blew up. Okay, I'm going to turn the cruiser division around. Spark up to flank speed. And we are getting the battle fleet to turn about as well. And start targeting the Schwalbe. Kohlberg is sinking. Battle fleet start targeting the Schwalbe. It's the lead light cruiser that is coming in. And we are going to get the cruiser division around to target the Stettin, which is the second light cruiser. Okay, yeah, we're stripping the torpedo threats off here. So I'm relatively comfortable with getting my battle fleet engaged with the enemy heavies. But I do want to get rid of the torpedo threat first before we do that. So let's see if we can get a solution on where is the battle fleet here. That is relatively long range, but I do want to have some warning if there are torpedoes coming in. Cruiser division is turning about. Let's get them to pass in front of the battle line. Okay, 14-inch hits. No, these are actually 6-inch hits coming in here. If we can get a couple good hits with the 14 inches, that would be great. I think these are even these are the secondaries from the battle line hitting now. Yeah, now the cruiser shells are hitting. The secondaries from the battle line are hitting, and I think they might have torpedoes underway. So battle fleet, get up to flank speed if you can, and see that we can get past that. Cruiser division, get in back closer to wipe these out. Yeah, they've gotten away with it relatively well. I think they might have done a torpedo run against the battle line. Let's see if we can get out of that, if possible. New Mexico so far is the only one who's got minor flooding. The rest of the fleet is in very good shape. and we are starting to land more and more small caliber hits, but not so much with the 14 inches just yet, unfortunately. And we've got the Stettin, the V-18 and the Schwalbe, and I think we can, Stettin is going down under concentrated fire, and that leaves, let's get a little closer here and avoid incoming torpedoes potentially. Let's make sure that we are also taking down the other two of that group. Schwalbe is already heavily flooding, V-18 is under fire. And the German battle line has been relatively ineffective at the moment. It's still New Mexico that is taking the brunt of the fire here. But so far, the German main line has not been super effective. Schwalbe is dead in the water, and V-18 is taking more hits. So I think we do need to now perform a turn here with the battle line and get ourselves back into the game here and start targeting the big ones. Good hits on the destroyer. I think that's the end. Yeah, the V-18 is sinking, which means we just have to finish off the Schwalbe. And Schwalbe is sinking as well. And then we're going to turn the cruiser division around again, so as to not give broadside to the enemy heavies, and get everything lined up while what can we actually start targeting now with the main ships. Yep, let's target the Kaiser Friedrich III and see if we can get with the battle line, target Kaiser Friedrich III, please, and see if we can land some long-range hits while we are turning the group around. Whereas the Asturias group is going to turn about and then start taking on the enemy heavy cruisers and see if we can make another pass here. And they are running at flank speed. Yeah. The Kaiser Friedrich has taken a fair amount of hits here. She's very much still battle worthy, but I think these 14-inch hits have made quite the impression. Now the cruisers are getting a little far away to be effective, so we're going to get them closer up and see that we can start engaging the enemy, the Cormoran, the enemy heavy cruiser, while the battle line needs to turn further. And please concentrate your fire on the Kaiser Friedrich if you can. Let's get the guns turned around and make sure that you get your shots on target there. That is a lot of firepower coming in, and not landing any hits just yet. There, got a partial penetration from forward deck from one of the 14-inchers, but we are a little far away, so it's to be expected. I do, however, want to make sure that we get these heavy cruisers out of the way if possible, because they have the potential to, let's get the Astoria group a bit closer. They have the potential to set quite a few fires. So we'll concentrate on the lead ship, on the Cormoran here of that group, and while we are slowly turning the Idaho's group around, and still focusing fire on the Kaiser Friedrich, who is taking on a lot of water now. She looks a lot worse for wear. Almost runs into one of the friendly heavy cruisers there, and is still taking partial penetration, so relatively well armored, but we're wearing her down just with sheer volume of fire, to be honest. I just have to be careful that I'm not running into any kind of torpedo spreads here with the heavy cruisers. So let's the enemy cruisers are focusing fire on the main line, We are now starting to get some 5-inch and 6-inch hits in on the Cormoran, which seems to be smoking up, or at least it's a heavy cruiser. It shouldn't have a smoke generator, but something there does. But they're tightly packed, so can we try to fire armor piercing at these things, please? Let's get some shells in there, and let's try to do some actual damage. Okay, Astoria is they're still focusing on the battle group. Okay, let's get the cruisers a little closer. But I think we have dissuaded the Germans here. There might still be more torpedoes in the water, because there's still a couple of light cruisers out there. Okay, that's starting to look good. We're getting some good hits in now on the Cormoran, which is wildly maneuvering, trying to get out of smoke, almost running into the battle cruiser. The German line is in complete disarray at this point, and we'll just maintain our own backwards rear firing line while we are getting the heavy cruisers a bit closer to engage the rest. I don't want to get too close yet, because they still have their big guns out there. So these are 15-inch guns, 15-inch and a cookie. So we do not want to engage within good range of those guns, but we do want to finish off the screening cruisers, and then we can focus our fire on the big ones. Okay, something is sinking, which is good. We haven't even identified it yet. Battle line is on a decent course. Get a little closer still. Cruisers are running a little close now. I would like to get the Cormoran dealt with before we start focusing on the Prinz Adalbert, which has taken the lead here and is breaking out from the formation. Let's get back to automatic selection and get a couple more good hits in. We're landing 5-inch and 6-inch hits quite a bit. Well, it's the 8-inchers that I would really like to see on target here. There we go. And mostly partial penetrations with the armor piercing at this angle, but I think we are doing a decent amount of damage here. Astoria has a fire to deal with. Oh, we might need to. There might be torpedoes in the water. We have to turn. Let's turn the cruisers around and get the battle line. Okay, it looks like the Kaiser Friedrich is trying to disengage, so we're going to get the battle line to start focusing on the Prinzregent Luitpold, which has taken the lead here, and we're turning the cruisers around just in case there are just the cruiser line around just in case there are torpedoes in the water. And we're still trying to focus down the Cormoran, which has taken a beating, but is not yet down and out. There's the Prinz Adalbert, which might be a better target actually, but we do have to be wary about torpedoes here, and I would really love to get the Cormoran dealt with. So if the Prinz Adalbert is launching torpedoes, then we do need to be a bit careful about that. Cormoran is dead. It has lost rudder control and seems dead in the water. And the battle line is still in good shape and is starting to. Well, that's not the greatest. Okay, yeah, there come the torpedoes. I was expecting that. So let's get a full turn. I might have left it a bit late to turn, so I'm not sure if the Brooklyn and the Tuscaloosa can make it out of there before the torpedoes are hitting. So let's steam hard ahead, and I think we can. Yeah, these are aimed at the Tuscaloosa. She might be able to avoid these. That's a very narrow spread of torpedoes, but I think okay, steer the other side. I think we can avoid these without too much trouble. Not sure if they will able to reach the battle line, and but there is not an awful lot. Yeah, Prince against Luitpold is down. They might reach the Nevada, or they might pass through, but I think we'll be safe. Okay, the Cormoran is down, so more torpedoes coming in at the rear here, so the cruisers do need to be careful. I think Nevada is safe from torpedoes, and we'll focus down the Prince Adalbert with all forces. Battle line needs to turn in because they are getting too far away. Cruisers are safe so far from torpedoes, and we are going to perform a turn here and get the cruisers back into action. Meanwhile, the battle line can just focus down that unlucky heavy cruiser, and she is not gonna be surviving that for very long. Once the 14 inches are coming in on target, she's gonna go down, I presume. There's another torpedo coming in from where? I haven't seen any torpedo forces, but I think the Brooklyn is going to be clear. New Mexico has just taken penetrating hits from what? Okay, New Mexico has taken a lot of damage. She needs to detach, and I think New Mexico needs to retreat. And we'll get the rest of the group to take the fire. She's taken quite some penetrating hits here. It's just the sheer volume of fire, I think, that's been probably focusing on her. So yeah, she's burning quite heavily, and she's taken a couple of penetrating hits. I'm not sure. There were a couple of big ones here on the funnel. Has something might have been it's been a 14-inch shell from the battle cruiser that seems to have hit the New Mexico on the funnel. Okay, the Prinz Regent Luitpold is down. Let's focus the battleships on the Kaiser Friedrich, and we do need to get our cruisers back into action. The cruisers are currently engaging the Mars, mostly with high explosive fire. But we'll shift fire to the Kaiser Friedrich. Let's get that sorted, and then we get the cruiser division to make a pass. And there is still a light cruiser. Okay, target the Frankfurt. That's the bigger threat here, because the battle group might be coming under torpedo fire here. And we should get the Kaiser Friedrich sorted out from Nevada and Idaho without too much trouble. Yeah, not to be underestimated, the German heavies. They've managed to get quite a bit of damage, but New Mexico has gotten the fires under control. Her engines are operational, and she's retiring from the battle now. And should be able to get back for repairs without too much trouble. Okay, good hits on the Kaiser Friedrich. I would like the battle line to please fire armor piercing with the main guns, because this 14-inch armor piercing should be capable of doing quite a bit of damage. Cruisers. That gets the cruisers in range of the Kaiser Friedrich, but I think that's a risk I can take at this point. They are getting relatively low, and they are chasing that light cruiser away quite effectively here. So let's get in a little bit more aggressively with the Astoria and her group. Cruisers, yeah, Kaiser Friedrich is going down due to fires, which means we can get the cruiser group a little bit more aggressively in and start hunting now that most of the screens and the heavy guns have been eliminated. And we are turning the main battle line in as well. And you please, yeah, target the Preußen. Preußen is probably the last of the enemy battleships. There's still the Mars out there, the battle cruiser with 14-inch guns. And okay, Saxony has been blown up, and we are starting to, yeah, we're starting to actually run some penetrating hits now that the main guns have been shifted to armor piercing. So let's get the battleship force into the game, and the cruisers. It looks like the Germans are actually retreating at this point. The cruisers to chase down whatever lighter forces are remaining. There are still torpedoes coming in. At least one torpedo. I'm not sure if that comes from the Medusa, from the light cruiser here, but we have avoided that pretty successfully. So let's go after the light cruiser while the battle force can turn in a bit and keep the pressure onto the Preußen, please. I think the Preußen is so heavily damaged at this point that her rudder is that her gunnery is probably ineffective. So I'm risking a pass here with the cruisers to finish off the Medusa, but I think that's a risk worth taking. There are still a couple of heavy cruisers out there, but they're all damaged to various degrees. Medusa is going down. There are still torpedoes in the water, I think, but that looks always more like almost more like an act of desperation here. So we will get, yeah, the battle line is falling a bit behind now, so we'll adjust the course slightly. I think the cruisers should be able to avoid those. Is it one torpedo only? Should be able to avoid that torpedo mostly, and they're now shredding the Preußen as well. Brooklyn might run into that. Detach, steer into the torpedo, full reverse. Let's make sure that Brooklyn can avoid it. Can she? Ooh, okay, full ahead again. Yes, she has avoided. Okay, Brooklyn has avoided. So let's reform the battle line and keep the cruisers safe. Astoria has taken a couple of hits now, so we might not actually risk the cruisers too much. Let's get the cruisers turned around. I don't need to risk the cruisers at this point. Let's get them to turn around and get the two battleships into the fight here. Adjust the course slightly, and is that still? Yeah, that's still a light cruiser. There's still a Frankfurt about. So Tuscaloosa is taken over. I think Astoria is starting. Yeah, she's flooding on the bow quite a bit now. So I will detach her, and I will get the Astoria to retreat as well, which means Tuscaloosa and Brooklyn should be able to finish this off by themselves without too much trouble. And they do have to reconnect with the battle line, however. So let's get them to turn around. The Preußen is still afloat, but she's effectively a floating wreck. There is still a number of cruisers out there, and the Mars, I think, is the last heavy ship that the Germans have available. Okay, Astoria seems to have gotten the flooding mostly contained and is now retreating. Tuscaloosa and Brooklyn are going to help hammering the Preußen. And the battle line as well. That ship really doesn't want to go down, but I think she's almost done for. Okay. And that means we can, actually maybe not like that. let's get the cruisers to pass by, and then we poison sinks, which means the Mars is the last heavy ship that the Germans have, and we can get a we can now start. I'm not sure which group here is actually still aggressive. The Friedrich, I think the Germans are retreating at this point, but we're not going to let them as much as possible. I mean, there's no way that the heavy ships can catch up on them. Idaho has taken a couple of hits, but Tuscaloosa and Brooklyn are still in good shape, so we're going to get them at flank speed to start chasing down the heavy cruisers. So target the Friedrich Karl, please. Whereas the battle group is should target the Mars and see if we can. Mars is still in fighting shape. See if we can inflict some damage there. Good hits there on the Mars. Tuscaloosa, leading the group, is now starting to engage the enemy heavy cruisers, and that risks a 14-inch crossfire from the Mars. But the Mars should be engaged with the two battleships, so I'm not too concerned about it. And let's see if we can finish off the Friedrich Karl here. We don't have quite the volume of fire anymore, given that we don't have the Astoria with us. But I have faith in Brooklyn and Tuscaloosa that they can take these heavy cruisers on. We do have to be, however, wary of torpedoes, because they are turning about. So I am going to do a hard turn to port, just in case, because these things might have torpedoes, and I don't want to run into them. So. Actually, torpedo angle-wise, I don't think they could have launched. Let's get in close. Let's get in closer. Get the secondaries effective. Where's the battle line heading? Battle line is Idaho is flooding in the bow now as well. I'm not sure if she's taken a torpedo, but I don't think so. That might have been just a penetrating hit. I think I see torpedoes. Yes, torpedoes. So. Steer clear of the torpedoes and chase down the heavy cruisers. The Mars has turned around and is trying to engage our cruiser force, so we do have to be a little careful here with Tuscaloosa and Brooklyn. But I would like to finish off these heavy cruisers here if we can, and then we will. But we don't want to get any closer to Mars, because Mars is starting to engage Tuscaloosa. So full turn. Mars's guns is not something I want to tangle with if I can avoid it. Idaho is still flooding, and Nevada is starting to take the lead now. I think they should still be both targeting Mars. Mars is pretty heavily damaged right now, and something just went wrong. So hang on. Okay, everything's sorted. Tuscaloosa and Brooklyn in a point-blank engagement with the enemy cruisers, enemy cruiser force, avoiding torpedoes coming in. Both of them being Friedrich Karl is almost done for, and the Nevada has to take over from Idaho. Please keep targeting Mars and see if you can get a bit closer. Idaho is still trying to get that flooding under control, and her bow section is pretty much underwater. And Tuscaloosa and Brooklyn are having to maneuver quite frantically right now, just to avoid enemy torpedoes and to get away from the incoming Mars. I will try to sink the Lippe and the Friedrich Karl. Actually, the Friedrich Karl is probably the bigger threat, so let's get that one out of the way first. But we do need to open up the distance here a little bit. Astoria is still retreating just to be safe. And Idaho seems to be okay. I think the flooding isn't spreading any further, so the pumps have that under control. And the Mars is now coming in for a close-range engagement with the two battleships. Nevada does not have torpedoes. Idaho, however, does. So She might be able to actually get a torpedo on target. My bigger concern right now, however, is this group. We've got good firing solutions. Let's try to finish off the Friedrich Karl before we have to disengage and before we have to dodge these torpedoes again here. Let's drop speed to 25 knots. I think torpedo might have run out. Try to finish off the Friedrich Karl and then take on the Lippe. And there's still the Mecklenburg, the light cruiser, around. We'll turn in. And she's sinking. Okay, Lippe is next. Finish her off, please. And we'll get closer to deal with the light cruiser. While Nevada and the Idaho trailing a bit. Nevada is basically now getting into a point-blank engagement with the Mars. The Mars is relatively well armed as well, but I think at this range... oh, there's a torpedo in the... Where did that torpedo come from? That is aimed at the Nevada, and I don't know if she can put her engines in reverse, emergency turn. That might have been from... from one of the light cruisers back there. But I don't think Nevada will be able to avoid this, despite the emergency reverse. Nevada is about to take a torpedo. Could have been worse. Engines ahead again. And do try to finish. Yeah, Mars is almost done. And the heavy cruisers are... in an engagement trying to clean up the remaining light cruisers back here. There's the Frankfurt and the Mecklenburg. So let's get them turned around. Mars is sinking. That is good news. I think the battleships have done their duty now here. Both Idaho and Nevada have taken some damage. Nevada has developed rudder problems, which means probably Idaho has taken over the lead of the lead again. I'm going to drop speed to 15 knots now, and finish the light cruisers off with the rest of the group here. Let's get back up to flank speed, close in on these light cruisers, and finish them off. Should not be a big problem. Okay, not Mecklenburg, Magdeburg. Magdeburg is sinking, and that leaves the Frankfurt. And I think that's it, I guess. That should be the last ship after the Mars has gone down. The Mars has conducted herself really well, gotten into a good old brawl, and the Frankfurt has surrendered due to high casualties. So that should be it. No losses on our side, although New Mexico and Nevada have taken quite some damage, but we have sunk 3 battleships, 1 battle cruiser, 5 heavy cruisers, 8 light cruisers, and 3 destroyers. So very disproportionate damage. That said, our ships are aging a little bit, let's put it that way. So who's come up top of the list? Nevada came up to the top of the list. Well done, Nevada, with 184 14-inch hits, followed by Idaho and then Brooklyn. New Mexico herself hasn't actually done that well, but Nevada and Idaho are in the lead, followed by Brooklyn, Tuscaloosa, and the Astoria had to disengage due to damage. But all in all, well done. The Mars has caused the most damage in that last point-blank brawl with the battle line. Don't underestimate the Germans. If they had concentrated their heavy ships on that sort of thing early on, rather than jockeying for position with the light forces, things might have ended up being slightly different. But we have won. The Germans have not. And that's all that counts.